As children, we learn the true meaning of being a hero. Being a hero requires great sacrifice for others, not just ourselves. We learn about the heroes of Jamaica's past and how much of themselves and their lives they had to give in building a nation we should be proud to call home. They believed in a Jamaica that was more than just a country, more than just an island, more than land surrounded by water. They believed in a dream of a free nation of people, a nation built on the foundation of their sacrifices, a nation of many people working as one, a nation that would continue to produce legends and nation builders that serve towards that vision. As children, we were also taught the national pledge, a solemn promise, an undertaking. I would like to believe Sir Hugh Sherlock, while writing this pledge, understood the vision and dreams of our heroes. It's clear being a hero is too much to ever ask any one citizen. Luckily, the pledge does not require heroics of any of us. It merely asks that we honor our heroes by striving to advance our nation and ultimately inspire the world, like they and many Jamaicans have done. It's important we remember those words. These words. Before God and all mankind, I pledge the love and loyalty of my heart, the wisdom and courage of my mind, the strength and vigor of my body in service of my fellow citizens. I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace, to work diligently and creatively, to think generously and honestly, so that Jamaica may, under God, increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity, and play her part in advancing the welfare of the whole human race. If you are like me, a Jamaican born and raised on this land, maybe you will remember saying those words, singing that song in a classroom or some general assembly. If so, like me, you made a pledge. Somehow it seems like many of us have forgotten that. The crime and violence, the indiscipline and short-sightedness, the corruption, the lack of respect for our beautiful lands we are blessed with, and the waters that surround and nurtures us. We have to do better. Let us honor our heroes so that they would not have sacrificed so much in vain. I hope this video can make a difference to even one soul. If so, it would all be worth it. If you feel the way I do, share it. May my voice become yours. Thanks for watching.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of the Make We Talk program. This evening I have with me, for those who are watching us from around the world in the Eastern Caribbean, welcome to those in the Cayman Islands, my other home. I want to say good evening to the viewers on Cayman Mall Road television, over there in the Cayman Islands, Georgetown, Grand Cayman, North Side, East End, Bond Town, West Bay. Good evening to you. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tavares, from the Make We Talk program right here in the land of wood and water, Kingston City, Jamaica. But I'm broadcasting live from South Florida. And this evening we're going to speak about Jamaica is open for business. I have with me none other than Mr. Carey Wallace, Executive Director of the Tourism Enhancement Fund. Dr. Wallace, welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you much, Jeffrey.
Unmute your mic for me, Dr. Wallace. Yes.
Are you hearing me now? I mean, it's saying...
Yes, loud and clear. Go ahead, sir.
All right, excellent. So just saying good evening and good evening to the viewers and listeners, and happy to be here and happy to have a chat with you.
Thank you, my friend. We must say that, back in the days in the grill, it was a long time ago, but let's not get into that. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of the business that we come to speak about.
Yes.
Dr. Wallace, thanks again for joining me, man. Jamaica has declared itself open for business after Hurricane Melissa. From the Tourism Enhancement Fund perspective, what does open for business really mean at this moment?
Well, thankfully, Jamaica is a relatively large island. In fact, you mentioned Cayman, your coverage of Cayman as well. Cayman can fit into Westmoreland alone 6.6 times. You know what I mean? So just to give a comparison of the magnitude of the square footage of the island that we have, the square kilometers. So we are quite a large island, and the hurricane, whereas it was one of the worst in history to hit Jamaica, it went in from the south, entering close to Black River in Westmoreland side, and then exiting somewhere between St. James and Trelawney. So
yes,
the ground zero was in comparison to the rest of the island was about a 1/3 of Jamaica. So thankfully it allowed for the other resort towns for sure, and Kingston, which is the main mostly populated city, and where a lot of the manufacturing and productive sectors are, was relatively unscathed as well. So you can appreciate that whereas we empathize and we're doing a lot of work in the ground zero areas where there were extensive damage, the rest of the island that was relatively spared would have had the chance to get back up, brush off, clean up, and be back in business. And so that's what we're celebrating. I mean, getting the island back up, it's not just about rescue and relief of the citizens that were adversely affected, but it's also getting it back up to where livelihoods are back in place. It's one thing to assist Jamaicans who are down on their knees, but the real remedy is to get them on their feet where they're walking again. And so getting livelihoods back up, getting the industry back up is our way of pushing to get those livelihoods back up.
How soon after the hurricane did the government and tourism sector declare it was safe to resume full tourism operation in Jamaica?
Well, as I said, so we don't have full tourism operation because there are still areas in Ground Zero and still some hotel plants that are still closed. But for the majority, it's about 70% as we speak of our tourism plants are back up in operation. So we start the ones that were least affected actually stayed open. The properties. I know Iberia Star, for instance. I know some of the smaller properties. My brother's property in the Grill Boardwalk didn't close at all. So they kept guests, and as a regular guest, we had a fairly robust operation of getting those visitors who were here on island out within a few days after the hurricane. And thankfully, our airports were reopened quickly. Kingston right away, and Montego Bay a couple of days after, to facilitate getting the visitors out. But as we had power restored in certain areas, we were able to quickly reopen those areas, and therefore we at first, and a lot of the guests that would have stayed would have been relief workers, as well as just family coming in to provide relief to their family or visit their families and so on. And then it gradually, we started opening back up to regular guests who were paying for a leisure holiday, notwithstanding that we had a hurricane. And so thankfully that's back up as well. Cruise calls have been up significantly as well. So there, we appreciate those visitors who have kept their bookings and still come in, because that's a great way of lending support, because it then your holiday translates into livelihoods being recreated in the tourism resort towns and so on, which has a cascading effect into the communities of Jamaica, because tourism is one of those industries where there are so many along the value chain. It's not just the hotels, it's the transportation providers, it's the farmers that supply the produce for the buffet lines, it's the beverage companies, it's the power companies, it's water supplies. There's so much that go into providing that experience that the visitor gets, that there are many who are touched by it, and therefore we had to work hard at getting that industry turning its wheels again.
What special role does the Tourism Enhancement Fund play in the hurricane recovery in Jamaica to our fellow Jamaicans in Western Jamaica who are tonight, Dr. Wallace, is some of them is left out into the cold. Some of them don't have any roof over their head. One would have think that maybe the government could have commandeered a hotel that doesn't have any guests in there and put some of the people in there. What sort of role does your enhancement fund play in helping the Jamaican people?
So we've gone through phases. First phase was rescue and relief, which was right in the aftermath of the hurricane. And in those instances, we provided care packages to ensure that all that who didn't have the wherewithal would have had food items and sanitary items and conveniences for them to be able to survive. We have facilitated the relief workers as well from overseas, where World Central Kitchen, for instance, set up their largest operation at the Montego Bay Convention Center, which I'm not sure if you know is
I know where that is, yes.
Out of the Ministry of Tourism. We also created a Jamaica Cares program, because remember, from a tourism perspective, you also get visitors who are in love with the island and so on, who would have seen the devastation and would have wanted to donate, not just visitors, but stakeholders, the cruise lines and so on. So the Jamaica Cares program that we set up in the ministry was to funnel that support coming in from tourism partners to make sure they get to the communities that were badly affected. We also have a tourism recovery task force. So we work assiduously at making sure that the tourism workers would be a crucial part of the recovery and rebuild, meaning it's one thing to rebuild a hotel and put on back roofs on the hotel and those kind of things. Another thing to understand that the tourism workers who were working there are also a key component of the tourism product. And if they would have lost roofs and so on, we've worked with the hotels to make sure that the support goes towards getting those tourism workers' roofs rebuilt. In fact, the TEF has provided 70 million in partnering with hardware suppliers to create building kits. So building kits meaning instead of care packages, which would just feed persons, we now wanted to give out building kits that would allow persons to put the roofs back on their homes. So there are 3 distinct building kits. One is if it's more of a concrete structure, so it's more cement, sand and stone and so on. The other is like zinc and lat and ply and so on. So we provide vouchers to the tourism workers who are adversely affected. They can go to the tef.gov.jm website and go into initiatives, and then you can apply there if you work in tourism and you were adversely affected by the hurricane, you lost your roofs and so on, and you can make an application there as well. So that program was just launched last week, and we've already had 500 applications coming in. So it's another one of the programs that we're doing to try and get our tourism workers sheltered again, so that them being a crucial part of the industry can be back at work, so that the industry can continue to provide the outstanding service that it does provide to our visitors.
Dr. Wallace, I have joining me a good friend of mine, Head Boy. But I want to ask you, you said that your the Tourism Enhancement Fund has provided over $70 million to tourism workers who...
Right, for building kits for the tourism workers.
Have everyone within the geographic area that has got damaged during the hurricane, has everyone, you can say, got help?
Oh, it's going to be difficult to say everyone. I mean, it's an initiative that we launched last week Tuesday. So the applications have to come in. It's 100,000 in value for the building kits that we provided. And we anticipate that the other ministries of government will come up with a similar facilitation to assist with rebuilding. But for us, you can understand the focus is on getting the industry going again. And so in doing that, we have to look at all the components of the industry, the transportation sector, the airports, the hotels, the attractions, and most importantly, the tourism workers. So because we are in the Ministry of Tourism, you would understand that we have a responsibility of getting the sector back up and operating. And so therefore we have to look at all the gears in that wheel that make the industry spin. And we anticipate that the other ministries of government will facilitate the other wider citizenry that are in need of help, so that apart from getting an industry going again, we're getting the rest of our citizens going again and back in operation. Whether they're in other industries, we anticipate that they'll reach out as well to facilitate the recovery.
A lot of Jamaicans tonight, Dr. Wallace, is saying that, they're all open for business when they come onto the tourism sector. But what about other Jamaicans who are down there who, as I said before tonight, don't have a roof over their head? Many Jamaicans are saying that, the tourism sector, or those who govern the tourism sector, is a bit heartless. Would you say that?
A bit what?
A bit heartless in the sense of...
Oh, heartless.
Yes, in the sense of
I think on the contrary,
Yes.
On the contrary, I think we have tremendous heart for doing what we're doing. I mean, my team is working sleepless nights. They work through the weekends. Not only are they out clearing roads and so on and giving out care packages, packing them and so on. I have a team that works through the whole weekend and are still out in the field working again, trying to get care packages to the people. I mean, I would hate for them to hear anybody suggest that they're heartless when they're pouring in all that work. I dare say that the ones who are saying they're heartless are probably not doing anywhere near that amount of work that my team is doing. But the idea, if they feel that we should not build back our industries and build back our livelihoods, then what's going to happen when the grants dry up? Because after the hurricane, yes, the grants and the relief coming in from kind overseas donors will pour in. But I promise you, that's not going to last forever. They're going to anticipate that what we are doing is exactly what should be done, which is getting back the country to where livelihoods are being created. We have to move on from thinking that we're going to be a dependent country for any prolonged period. We have to. We were grateful for the assistance to get us off our knees back onto our feet.
Mm-hmm.
But when we get on our feet, we better get back to work so that we can create the quality of life that all people deserve.
Dr. Wallace, I have my friend online. There's something going on with the link that I gave to him. He can't come up with a mic. I think he has a question to ask you. But before I let him ask you the question, Dr. Wallace, I have to ask you this question here, though. In all your recovery effort now, the western strip of Negril, because you know Negril is dear to my heart, just like how Negril is dear to your heart. The western strip of Negril, is it back? Is it open up for business? Is it ready for business?
Yes. Power is back on the West End. Rick's Cafes has reopened. Many other properties on the West End have reopened. So for guests I was there on the weekend, and there were guests meddling about all around. So yes, it's back up and operating.
Mm-hmm. Head boy. Okay, I don't think he's ready.
Yes, Jeffrey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead. Dr. Wallace is hearing you too.
Okay. Let me firstly welcome Dr. Wallace and say good night to all your listeners. I must commend first the work that Dr. Wallace has been doing. Yeah, he's one of those few chairmen that have come to Tourism Enhancement Fund that has ensured that communities that were not traditionally included in some of the support get some of that support, and I must commend him for it. Oftentimes we cost the government, particularly I am guilty of it. Yeah, but when they do good, we must give. When people who are working, we must give them credit. And I want to commend you firstly for that, Dr. Wallace. My question
I can say this too, head boy. Growing up in Negril with Carey Wallace, he's a hard-working individual. There's no time you say Carey is up and down trying to do something for the people of Negril. And when they put him in charge of the Tourism Enhancement Fund, I said, yes, there is somebody there who have the people's heart and the people's interest, and that's Carey Wallace. Go ahead, head boy.
Thank you.
Right. So the question I want to ask Dr. Wallace is particularly in relation to how do we? I'm looking at the Tourism Enhancement Fund. Yeah. And why do I say I'm looking beyond the Tourism Enhancement Fund? I am wondering, because of our dependency on tourism and where we're located and some of the issues that we're going to have, because let's make no mistake, this is going to be a natural occurrence for us, maybe in the coming years. Yeah. I am asking, could we restructure the Tourism Enhancement Fund? And I know that is not your prerogative, it really would be a ministerial prerogative, but you as a board could carry it. Could we restructure the Tourism Enhancement Fund to be somewhat like a sovereign wealth fund?
Sovereign wealth fund, you're saying?
Yes.
Well, the country has moved over the last, I think since 2017, to instead of having the separate funds that are out there delineated for different projects and so on, to have it all in the consol fund so that but then have it managed better. Why? Because it makes our debt to GDP more amenable to the ratings agencies. So therefore, we will increase our rating with the rating agency, meaning the cost of capital then becomes less. So instead of having the consult fund looking small, and you have all these agencies out there with their own funds, in some instances they can't even spend it off in the financial year, so it rolls over. So they have surpluses. They are then investing in the very same banks that the government is borrowing from. So you see where it's a lot smarter, and more efficient, where you would therefore consolidate it, as it were, such as into a big national fund. I mean, the crux of that policy is where the management is then efficient, because where it goes wrong is when it's not managed well, and then any time a vital industry or sector that had it delineated needs the funding for its expansion and growth, and now the funding is not there. That's when that whole formula collapsed. But thankfully,
Right.
we the fiscal management certainly of this administration and somewhat the one before as well, we're quite disciplined, and I think Jamaica is reaping the benefits of all that. You see the response that the international markets, financial markets, gave towards Jamaica even after the largest hurricane in our history. So I think it augurs well for us as a country, just being fiscally prudent and disciplined, and I think that may be a better approach if we get better and better at it to move forward. So that
one more follow-up question on that,
Sure.
Dr. Wallace. And I'll tell you where I was coming from, and I think you'll agree when you see where I was coming from, where the question was coming from. I was really referring to also, because I'm looking at the fact that, let's use, for example, Punta Cana. Yeah, we're talking tourism tonight. Yeah, one of the issues that I am particularly concerned about with the Tourism Enhancement Fund, and I say it with no water in my mouth, is that I want to see a more robust Tourism Enhancement Fund that is doing more community investment, meaning giving the community groups more support for community tourism. Now, I know it is something that's dear to your heart, because I've heard your vision. I've heard you spoken on it before. Former Minister Delano Seabright, who's a personal friend, has expressed some interest in that field, and also the senior minister as well. We see an investment coming from, I think it's Agent Sasco in St. Mary, in Strawberry, in that area, to bring out a more ecotourism. Why am I asking this? I believe with the onset of the climate change, the Tourism Enhancement Fund must now be the driver in tourism for us to move to more climate resilient tourism.
No, I hear you about the climate.
And I want your input on that, Doc. Thank you.
Yes, I hear you about the climate change mitigation and to build more resilient. I mean, when you look at the bar chart of our growth in tourism numbers and revenues over the years, the only years that you don't see a growth is the years when we've had some kind of catastrophe or a pandemic or so on, some kind of shock. And that's why the minister, Edmund Bartlett, was brilliant in actually investing in a crisis management and resilience center. In fact, it's a global one. So the whole world that does tourism would have had similar challenges, and it was created in Jamaica because of that very reason, recognizing that the only time tourism does not grow is whenever there's a shock. So therefore, if we become better at mitigation, we get better at the recovery, we get better at the prediction, get better at the insurance measures, all those things that will make, could there one day be a hurricane and we almost treat it like we just had a nice shower of rain, in terms of how resilient we've built our sector and our industry. Obviously, that requires research, that requires effort, collaboration, lobbying, attention, so many things. And the Global Tourism Resilience and Crisis Management Center was actually built for that, and hence why we have such a fairly robust and fast recovery formula. We saw it in COVID with what you call a V recovery. So you have the shock, you go down, and the increase is so rapid that we're back up. I mean, just Sunday we had 50 flights at Sanchez International Airport coming in. So we are approaching that V recovery from a tourism standpoint, all because of that level of pre-thought, pre-planning, understanding of what the point that you made, that with climate change, we have to become better, smarter, more resilient. So I'm not saying we're there at the panacea, where we have ways to go, but certainly we have started, and we are building more resilient. We are collaborating a lot more. In fact, an expert was today commending Jamaica and said the reason they think Jamaica is so strong at recovery was because of our collaboration, public, private sector, stakeholders, and so on, which is part of the resilience formula to make sure that it's not
absolutely.
We're not going at cross purposes.
I want you to preface the other aspect of the question, which is in relation to how do we move now. Because, for example, when you look at Punta Cana, and this is one of the challenges I've had with tourism in Jamaica, which, by the way, Doc, not to sound this way, but I really believe we are an inflated in terms of what we have to offer. It's overvalued. Yeah, it's not truly what it is. Let's look at Punta Cana. Yeah, Punta Cana or Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, but more so Punta Cana, if you want to zone in. Punta Cana, has roughly about 500,000 rooms, readily available. After Hurricane Ivan passed the Domrep took a decision then that we can no longer just depend on sea and sand tourism, but we must now branch out in the areas of Las Terrenas, Las Bravos, right? And these are areas that are very mountainous. Yeah, they're like the Blue Mountain, but the amount of villas that are in these places and the space that's there. So I'm just basically saying, Doc, even though we also have to be careful that some of the developments that we do, some of the developments that are happening in Jamaica, that it is not also a contributory factor to some of the issues that we're facing. Yeah.
I understand you clearly, but bearing in mind, that tourism development is not just government that develops tourism. A lot of it is private sector. So there's nothing stopping Jamaicans from investing and building villas anywhere. In fact, the last count on the number of peer-to-peer, what they sometimes call Airbnbs and so on, is 8,000
right.
8,000 rooms. So there are a lot of investment that's happening by Jamaicans. The slogan for Airbnb is travel like a local. So when somebody builds an Airbnb villa somewhere in the mountains and so on, it's not just the Airbnb that's making money from tourism. The cook shop, the corner bar, the transportation guy, the waterfall around the corner, the blue hole around the corner, that kind of thing. It's the more immersive type of tourism, and everybody's making money. So it is happening. That's the good news. Yes, I would love for it to happen more. In fact, our policy position is local first. So a lot of our investments are working in not just building out the value chain to supply tourism, but building out the tourism assets that are dotted all over the country. In fact, some of the hurricane recovery projects that we're working on is fixing roads that go to attractions and waterfalls and so on, because a lot of those are fairly remote. They're in the hilly parts for the waterfalls to work. They're, when you have a hurricane and rivers overflow, then the roads are washed away and so on. And so we have to kind of jump in to make sure all those are repaired to facilitate more and more visitors going inside and spreading the tourism dollar in every nook and cranny in Jamaica. But there's a role for a local private sector to play as well too, you know. So I encourage, especially now that we have tools, we have our phones that have, not only can we advertise to the market from our phones anywhere we are, we can also get bookings from the very market from our phones anywhere we are. So there's no monopoly or no nobody cornering the market. And Jamaica, you mentioned earlier that you think the Jamaican product is overvalued, but I would kindly disagree, because I believe that there's no other place on this planet like Jamaica. And when you combine all that we have going for us, not only our beaches and rivers and waterfalls and so on, that I guess Dumrep can match, but Dumrep can't match our culture. It can never get what music comes from Dumrep. No, it can't compete with our brand. You know what I mean? We've given the world Marcus, we've given the world Bob, we've given the world Bull, we've given the world Jimmy Cliff. Come on, the value of, we are on everybody's bucket list. You know, all we have to do is clean up, keep our place peaceful and safe for our visitors, open our doors, be hospitable, have more pro-social behaviors and so on. And I think all of us can become rich off tourism alone.
Let me ask this question, Dr. Wallace. As I switch to the Jamaican diaspora, many in the Jamaican diaspora are concerned that tourism is a priority over the citizens of Jamaica. What would you say to members of the Jamaican diaspora tonight?
Well, if all our hotels, let's call them tourism plans, and our attractions, if all of them were, I don't know, steel factories, and we were an island that our number one industry was steel, would we say the same thing if we started to get our steel industry back up, to provide the jobs, to provide the revenues for the country? But just because the industry is actually people, a service industry, getting that industry back is the same intention, to get jobs back up, to get revenues back in the country, to get foreign exchange back, to get the country turning again. So, you know, I think it may be a little short-sighted if they just look at us working at getting the industry going again, perceiving that it's favoring one set of people over the other. The whole idea is to create a revenue stream that can benefit all our Jamaicans.
You know, Dr. Wallace, you and I, as I said before, grew up in the small little fishing village of Negril. And Negril has become a tourist destination for many years. After the whole entire hurricane passed through Jamaica, passed through Negril, what plans does the tourism sector have for Negril, for the development of Negril, for the rebeautification of Negril? Because I'll first say this, without any apology, a born and grown Negril, but traveling into Negril look like a shanty town. And it's full-time, Carey, Dr. Wallace, that we do something for Negril. Negril has been contributing to tourism for many years. Many people don't remember the hippie days in Negril, you know. You and I remember those hippie days, when people come out of the house and give hippies the house and pitch tent on the 7 Mile Beach in Negril, eat curry chicken back and roast breadfruit. You remember those days, Carey? Yeah,
of course, yeah.
So what plans does the tourism sector, does the Ministry of Tourism have planned for Negril, to revitalize Negril, to boost Negril, the town of Negril? The Negril runabout look like when, anyway, Jeffrey, don't go down the road there. Your views and everything, I just asked you, sir.
All right, good. So again, it's a public-private effort that we're asking for. From a public standpoint, we are investing in the areas that the public infrastructure, the roads, including the roundabout. TPDCO is redoing the roundabout now as we speak. They had some delays because of Melissa and so on, but they have a project that's live that is redoing the roundabout as we speak. TEF has extended some roadways on the west end going deeper. Previous to that, most persons would have just counted the western road as stopping at the lighthouse. Yes. And we recognize that there were many, to extend the footprint of Negril would be an enhancement of the destination. So we've done 1 kilometer last year, and we're doing another kilometer now as we speak, going further deep west.
So Hog Heaven and those places?
Towards that side. So basically what that does is that it opens up the corridor, especially for smaller local operators who are the ones who own the land and probably would not be able to afford beachfront properties kind of thing. So it's extending the footprint of Negril to allow more and more locals to participate in the tourism economy of Negril. We also have a project for lighting the strip, and we have a project for starting sidewalks on the west end. We're going to start with the sidewalks in the areas that have the width that can accommodate the sidewalks, while we negotiate with landowners who have built close to the road for a step back. In fact, we did some work a few years ago at the church corner. Remember, that was quite risky, right? And so we negotiated with them to allow us some lands so that we could build a sidewalk there going around it. I'm not sure if you've seen it. In exchange, we had to create some revetment walls to allow for more land space for them to get. And that project, actually, we just finished the revetment wall just last week in itself. But rest assured, there's attention being placed in Negril. There in the pipeline, there is an airport that's coming, which I believe will be a significant transformation of all of Westmoreland if an international airport comes into Negril, bearing in mind that, especially going after the luxury market, you start getting to a type of clientele where money is not their limiting resource. It is time. And therefore, if you don't facilitate a quick transition from wherever they are coming from onto that beach or onto the cliffs or into a vacation experience, adding that 2-hour journey or 3-hour journey depending on traffic is you start losing them right away. So the idea is to provide that ease of access to, and opening up the corridor. If you think about it, when you market Jamaica as a destination and everybody has it on their bucket list and so on, they still go after convenience. They want to be there, get the experience, but want it to be convenient. So Montego Bay having the airport, you can see where if they can find a hotel close by, so they're in and without the stress of having to worry about a long journey. To then get to the airport, to then get back on a flight. When you're going to a foreign country, you always have that because you're not familiar with the surroundings, so there's always that risk that you're cautious about. So I believe when you then if you're really serious about taking advantage of the fact that Negril is the best beach in Jamaica, and a beach experience is the number one thing that a visitor wants in a Caribbean holiday. When they're thinking of a Caribbean holiday and they're checking up the list of the things that they want, the number one thing that comes up is a beach experience. So here we have the best beach in Negril. That certainly, let's provide the access to the asset that is showing that is the number one thing that the visitors want out of their experience.
Hold on for me, Headboy. Hold on for me. A follow-up question to Dr. Wallace here. Dr. Wallace, we talk about that. What about the small hoteliers in Negril?
No, Jeffrey.
Hold on for me. Please, hold on. Make it come in. Who have, because this is dear to my heart. I have family members who own small hotels in Negril, and the property tax on the 7 Mile Beach is crazy. But small hoteliers along the western strip of Negril, who has gave Negril the brand name. Because over the years, whether the PNP power, the JLP power, it doesn't matter, hasn't done enough to help those small hoteliers when the all-inclusive decide to come into Negril. You are from Negril, Dr. Wallace. You know what it's like to have a small hotel. Your family has one, grew up in one and everything like that. What plan does the government have to assist those small hotels to revitalize themselves if they want to do something like that?
Well, we have we provided $1 billion to the Exim Bank to facilitate to unlend to small, what we call small and medium tourism enterprises, SMTEs, including hotels with rooms under 50, to provide cheap access to capital. So that rate is 4.5% over 7 years, and up to 25 million J for them to retool or refurbish, or So the idea is the cheapest capital available in Jamaica today. We provided the funding for that and so on. Over almost 400 SMTEs have benefited from that revolving loan fund that we have with Exec. But remember, the experience, one of the things we have to do is kind of understand the experience and the value that's provided in exchange for the visitor's dollar. In an all-inclusive, when they have 4 or 5 restaurants and they have entertainment and water sports and all these things, then the visitor can stay inside those hotels and have a fantastic experience all 5 days or all 7 days that they're there. When they stay in a small hotel, the experience is really the outside property. It's a resort town. It's not the restaurant inside the hotel. If they eat 7 breakfasts, 7 lunch, and 7 dinners, it's going after a while be quite boring. You want them to go out on the strip. You want them to walk around. You want them to go to experience the authentic restaurants, bars, and so on, nightclubs, and so on in the town. In fact, it's almost like a different type of traveler that you have, a different type of visitor that you appeal to when you have an all-inclusive. You get most of what you call the vacationers. Vacationers meaning persons who want to vacate their lives, vacate their cold countries, their office, their family, whatever, and just want to escape and recharge and rejuvenate. So an all-inclusive model works very well for them. If they can pay once and everything is taken care of and their toes are in the sand and the pina colada in their hands, and if they want more, no extra charge, and it's fantastic for them. And so it is a product that appeals, and that's appealing and appeals to the cross-section. But the majority of people on our planet are travelers, the ones who travel to where the value is, immersing themselves in these new experiences. It's the new sights, the new sounds, the new smells, the new foods, the new dances, the new people, the new places, those are real travelers that are out and about. They would not think, they would almost cringe at the thought of staying in any one property for 5 or 7 days. So what we need to do to facilitate the smaller properties is not be thinking that the same guests that go into the all-inclusives are their guests as such. I mean, you may have some overlap, but for the most part, for us to develop where we are attracting the traveler. Now, the traveler, knowing that they're staying outside, know that they're driving a rent-a-car or a rent-a-bike or those kind of things, moving up and down, the safety factor is a big consideration for them. Safety and the hospitality and so on. And that's the opportunity that we have as Jamaicans to show our warmth, our heart, our vibe, our energy, to create these townships, these strips, these main streets, these, you mentioned Negril and so on, where everywhere they go, they are meeting warm, charming, hospitable Jamaicans and getting a great experience. And when they have that, they will always return and will always tell others. You remember them by name? Oh my God, they'll never forget that, because where they're coming from, that does not happen. And I think Negril, as you know, kind of grew up with that kind of vibe and that kind of communal hospitality.
Yes.
And I think that's something that we can return to transform the resort town, especially Negril that has the largest amount of small properties on the island, to the glory days, or even better. Today we have tools that we never had before. We have social media, we have WhatsApp, we have Airbnbs. We have so many things that we can be very close and have a direct link with the visitor, that I believe we can really create a flow and a flood of visitors coming in based on the number one asset that Jamaica has, which is our people.
I'm gonna head boy, come on in. The only thing that I upset over when it comes on the tourism in Negril, you and I know that we used to love to go up to the Bloody Bay and behind hedonism there and have our beach party. Those days are gone because they sell out all of those places. I'm like, when I drove down to Negril and I see what is going on, you're gonna leave Sarkret Bridge and coming down. Is always some hotel or something coming down owned by the Isses. You can't go have a little beach party anymore, Carey. I don't know why you're not doing that to us, Carey. Come on now, man. Head boy.
Yes, Jeffrey. I don't know if Dr. Wallace, can you hear me?
Yeah, man, we can hear you loud and clear.
Right. I wanted to probe the airport point that Dr. Wallace was raising. As you know, they have said here on social media that I am the Minister of Transport, particularly aviation, which is my baby, because I used to work in the industry. Now, Dr. Wallace is correct in saying that any traveler who comes to Jamaica or anywhere in the world, they don't want to be more than 45 minutes from an airport. That's actually the international standard. Yeah. However, one of my challenges that I have, Dr. Wallace, and I'm sure your minister and the former junior minister was looking at that in a probe. One of the challenges you're going to have in Negril, or you're going to have overall with a new airport in Jamaica, is because of what happened at Ian Fleming. Yeah? Ian Fleming became a white elephant until 2 to 3 years ago when they signed the arrangement with the American Airlines flight. And much kudos to the minister. I'll give Minister Bartlett his credit for pushing that flight. And also MP Montague has been a strident defender of what happens at that airport. But if you looked at a recent report from the AAJ in terms of its earnings and its earning capacity, because I don't want us to come off with this. There's a problem we have in Jamaica. We have heard about Burnham Field. We have grand ideas in Jamaica, brilliant ideas. Yeah? But there's a problem we have in Jamaica, and it is called management, Dr. Wallace. Yes? If Negril is to construct an airport, one, have the ministry considered the ecological impact? Because most of where the airport is now sitting on what is called, what they call them land there again,
Swamp
Jeffrey?
land.
Mangroves.
Huh?
Mangrove.
Mangrove. Yes?
But hold on, head boy.
So it's not there. The very
they-
ecological study that we did proved that we couldn't do it there. We had to do it. So it's going to be near Little London side.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. It's not going to be Negril itself. It's going to be Little London.
Right.
Okay.
Because there's
okay.
no
Because I
capability in the
remember-
mangrove area of Negril.
Correct.
Because I recall that there was a study that said, yes, the airport could be, because in fact, there was a study that said, yes, expanding the airport there could work. By the way, Doc, I am not opposed to this airport, quite frankly.
No, I understand totally, but
on
I'm just reassuring you that we are ahead of you. We consider the ecological impact and everything already, and we decided
Absolutely,
that can't be there and so on.
because
So
funny enough,
we're ahead of you, and one of the things that I think would help Jamaica is when we increase our trust. I think one of the problems we have is that we don't trust the experts in the different roles of government or private sector that they are looking after our best interests. I think the trust deficit is so high in Jamaica that everybody has to become their own expert because somebody comes down from Kingston and tell you something kind of thing. You kind of look at them with one eye closed, kind of squinted and so on because
exactly.
you're not sure what motive they have, and so I think the more we, especially because we have technology at our fingertips now. We can cross check what they are saying. We can go on AI. We can get information. So I think it will help a country like Jamaica, because the greatest asset of any country, are its people. No matter how much beaches, no matter how many mountains, rivers, waterfalls, blue holes, no matter how many of them, if you don't have a people working together, collaborating to develop those assets into value that they can then earn for the people, you will get nowhere. I'll give you 2 examples. The People's Republic of Congo, right? When the geologists study all the mines and ores that they have, copper, diamond, gold, and so on, the value of that would make them one of the richest countries on the planet. Today, the people of the People's Republic of Congo are the 4th poorest in the planet, right? And we beg ourselves, why can't they? It breaks our heart. Why can't they just pull together, band together, work together, educate each other, themselves, and convert what they are blessed with into wealth for the nation? right? Contrast that with Luxembourg. Luxembourg is the richest country on the planet per capita. You know how many raw materials Luxembourg has? Zero.
Nil.
Their
Nil.
number one
And
industry
monopoly as
is banking. The number finance. The number two is logistics. Number three is manufacturing, and all their raw material they import and then add value to then sell and create wealth for their people. It's their people that are educated, that are developed, that are upskilled, that are collaborating, that are facilitating each other's rise, that are supporting each other's rise. So when you come back to Jamaica now with all these tourism gems, all these tourism assets, beaches like win awards every year. Guns River Waterfalls is the number one attraction in the entire Caribbean.
in the world.
The blue luminous lagoon is the brightest luminous lagoon on the whole planet. Blue Mountain is taller than every mountain in Australia. And Jamaica can fit into Australia 700 times.
But Dr. Wallace,
when we have all that going for us, the only thing in our way is our mindset. It's for us to think more that the way we make this country successful, the way we make myself successful, is if we make each other successful. This every man for themselves, and we're busy catching each other, finding an enemy faster in each other. PNP, JLP, uptown, downtown, brown man, black man, Rasta, ballhead, KCJC.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But Dr. Wallace,
we have been conditioned as a people to see, to be quicker to fight and slower to collaborate. And it's collaboration that will make us convert our assets into success and wealth for our people.
But Dr. Wallace,
right?
Is it that we in this country that we call Jamaica? Is it that the people is as divided as the politics why we can't come together in this country?
Well, whoa, I'm not sure if you have the time, but if you look at our history,
this program is for you, as long as you can say it, me, I don't mind.
All right, so I'm going to put on my social psychology hat on now, right? The challenge we have in Jamaica is that our system of divide and rule was deliberate, because during colonialism in the islands, the blacks outnumbered the whites. At the height of the transatlantic slave trade, it was 20-1. So contrast that with the US, which was a British colony as well. But the majority of the population in the US were white. Slaves were the minority. They still call black people in the States today minorities, right? So if you are having an oppressive regime, but you outnumber the ones you're oppressing, then it's easy. You just, by sheer numbers, you just use that power to keep them in check and keep them on the plantations and whatever. If one slave run away, it's a posse of white men only that ride them down and catch him and lynch him and so on. Teach him a lesson, right? On the islands, it was different. It was 20-1. How could one scrawny white man have 20 big, strong black men and have them working on the plantations? They're outnumbered 20-1. So the only way they could do that was to divide and rule. Is to call the 5 strong ones, tall, big, strong ones, and say, hey, man, you are different from the rest. You are going to live in the house. I'm going to feed you better and so on. You are on my team, and you are going to be against. You're going to help me to keep the others in check. And so they created this system of not mistrusting each other, because it's your own brother now that you thought would be on your side, helping to fight for your freedom and helping to look after you. They were now on the side, helping to keep you enslaved, right? Now, they did something else in Jamaica and in the islands that they didn't do in the US. In the US, it was frowned upon to have interracial relationships during slavery. In Jamaica, it was the thing to do. And then when you start having all these brown kids and whatever, you would now set up this hierarchical structure, this stratified society in Jamaica based on Caucasian features. So the hierarchy of maintaining the status quo where the whites stay on top and the blacks stay at the bottom was through the middle brown people. If you look fairly white, I mean, we grew up, Jeffrey, where we knew families mixed families. And if some of the kids came out more Caucasian than the others, you could almost see the treatment, not just by the public, but even by the parents sometimes.
True.
You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, unlike the US, which when they gained their independence from Britain, they went straight to a developmental model, because the model to make any country work is where the assets of the country has its natural assets, you develop the people of the country, upskill them, facilitate them, retool them so that they can convert the assets of that country into value, increase value to create wealth when they trade and they become wealthy. It's pumped back into the people, pumped back into the facilities, pumped back into the infrastructure, and it grows like that. During colonialism, it was an extractive model. Britain was extracting anything that we created of value. They only developed to the point where it was enough to extract, right? But when America got their independence, they said to hell with that stratified society. They're going to create the land of the free, where everyone can pursue happiness, where there's liberty for all. But that is all if you're white, because the majority of the population. So they just had that formula for their majority of the population. Us in Jamaica, the majority of us being black, we need to look at not so much what the whites over there are doing against the blacks. We need to look at what the whites over there are doing for the whites. Today we call it white privilege, where they are facilitatory of each other's rise. A white banker and a white couple comes in, they're more likely to get a loan. A white judge and a white criminal, the sentence is lighter. A white police pull over a white driver, they're likely to just get a warning rather than get a gunshot, that kind of thing. I mean, just like we saw just 2 years ago where that white kid shot up a church, right? And when the white cops were taking him to prison, and he said he was hungry, they pulled over and a McDonald's or something like that, or a Burger King, and got him a meal, right? So we have seen the
classism in this country.
We have seen how in groups are facilitatory of each other's and forgiving of each other. I mean, you even look at what's going on with Trump now as well too. You know, if he was non-white, they would have crucified him already, right? But the system is set up to facilitate each other there. In Jamaica, the system was designed not for the collaboration, because we would be much stronger if we work together than if we were divided.
So in other words, you're saying that the people of the Vumvavon and the Vumvavin don't think about the people who live below Crossroad.
Well, listen, the way I see race, right, is I think the body is just a vehicle transporting the person, transporting the soul. And so how silly would it be if I ask you what color car you drive and you tell me white, and I ask head boy what color car him drive and him say black, and I decide to start treating you better because you drive a white car than a black car. Now, how ridiculous would that be? Similarly, that's how we should look at each other. The body is just a vehicle transporting the soul. If you have to judge, in fact, you shouldn't judge, but if you have to judge, you judge based on the content of one's character. But still, the solution is what I'm trying to get to, where we have to recognize that we have inherited a system that was designed to keep us fighting each other, to keep us from progressing in a collaborative way, in a facilitatory way. I'll give you the first verse of Barry's Hammond's classic because it explains it clearly. Putting up resistance. So it goes like this. You know, I never can understand it, the way the system is planned. There is no hope, no chance, no loophole, no escape for a sufferer man. But every time I lift my head above water, try to save myself from drown, there's an overnight scheme, all worked out, designed to keep me down. So in Jamaica, if you try and do anything to make a forward step by playing by the rules, join every line, you call a switchboard, you wait your turn, you fill out every form and so on. Try to get a driver's license or a building permit or anything by playing by the rules in Jamaica and see how much the system is designed to make it difficult. At best, you have to have a network, know a man, call a man, beg a man, do your favor, to get forward. Because unlike white America, where their systems are designed to lift them up. So no wonder they rose past the same Britain and became the wealthiest country on the planet, because they created a system that was facilitatory of each other. While we here in Jamaica, still in our minds, we see somebody, PNP or GLP, we're busy searching, still conditioned to fight our own brothers and sisters. It's a bright kid, 2 bright kids from Highgate St. Mary, for example, brilliant and doing well in school and go to university and get even more educated and so on. If they collaborate, they could transform Highgate St. Mary. But no, one put on an orange shirt and one put a green shirt, and they spend all that brilliance, all that energy, all that expertise, and spend their lives tearing down each other, most eloquently, but criticizing, blah, blah, blah. We're busy cropping down each other like crabs in a barrel. And the day we recognize that this country is ours, this is one of the most blessed countries on planet Earth, and all we need to do is change that mindset that we have been indoctrinated with, where we need to look at every single Jamaican. The greatest asset of our country is our people. Look at every single human and say, listen, if we don't facilitate that human to become a net contributor to society, we would have done a disservice. We need, rather than leaving them, passing them on the road, catching them, and so they become a burden on society. That's a job that our generation has. And we have tools that our previous generations never had. We have AI, access to information. We have social media, the democratization of media. 20 years ago, that media was controlled by the elite through traditional media forms. Today, it's democratized. Look at how you and I are talking as well, thanks to technology. So we have to recognize, our generation has to recognize that, yes, our ancestors freed us and provided physical liberation that allowed us to be better off. But as a country, in a capitalist society, for people are still poor, they are still enslaved. You try and live without money for a month and see if you're not enslaved. See if you're free. You're not free if you get gas run out and your credit done and your light cut off and your water bill cut off, and you are not free. So true freedom means economic liberation. And that's what our generation has to recognize, that we have a responsibility to not just benefit from what our foreparents did and will try to live a good life and drink some Hennessy and, chat up some girl and whatever, and then think that's life. We're enjoying the fruits of what they sacrificed and did. We have a responsibility to the next set of generations, where we convert the assets of this country via collaboration, via harnessing what we have that's great about this country, to create a nation that every single visitor would want to come to. And it's not just about tourism as the only industry. There are many other industries that can be created, the logistics industries and so on, if we have that facilitatory approach. Think about, instead of a white privilege, let's create a Jamaican privilege, where when we interact with each other, if the answer is not yes, our attitude is, let's see how best we can get to yes.
I'm gonna head boy, come on, Dr. Wallace, I have known you for many years, and I've never hear you speak so passionately about something until I hear you now. And what I get from what you're saying is this, that if we, the Jamaican people, put away this PNP and JLP stupidness and think about this country, put this country forward, put ourselves forward, we'll be a beautiful nation and rally around a single cause and a single purpose to uplift we and this country. Head boy?
Yes, Jeffrey, can you hear me?
Go ahead, man. I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, man, and I wanted to come in, Dr. Wallace. I tell you, I've heard about this gentleman for a very long time. And I think the first time I encountered him was at a function in St. Ann. Yes? It was not the rename. They were doing something at SADCO. Yeah, you had just become chairman, Doc. And I want to tell you have been very consistent in your pronouncements. Yeah? And that's one of the things that I'm impressed with you about. As a matter of fact, I want to walk back something I just said, because I was looking at the number, right? The projected numbers. And do you know, that if Negril Airport was to be established, there will be hell to bear on Ian Fleming, because Negril seemingly is having an uptick in passenger count over the last 5 years. And Ian Fleming's passenger uptick only came about just as a result of the American Airlines deal they did about 2 years back. Yeah? Negril was carrying more passengers than...
Headboy, hold on a minute. Continue talking. Let's do turn off something here, Dr. Wallace. Go ahead, Headboy.
Yeah, so Negril was actual. Let me give the actual numbers to back up the need, because I really believe we need to. I'm not opposed to a Negril Airport, but I think we'll have to close some others because of the profitability issue. But when you look at, like, for example, in 2011, Ian Fleming only carried from 2011 to 2020 and 2023, they only carried roughly over 1,600 passengers. But by 2024, they went to 16,800 passengers.
Right.
But here what happened at Negril. The passenger movement data show that Negril handled over 27,000 passengers between 2020 and 2024, including the pandemic years. And their annual traffic rose from 2,658 in 2020 to 7,359. So there's a case. A matter of fact, former Minister Mike Henry was very, he was pushing the idea of doing this Negril Airport when he was minister in first time in 2007, and then when he became minister again in 2016. So I know the importance of this airport. But Dr. Wallace, I think from a government point of view, where airports are losing $2 billion our eardrums, $2 billion over a 5-year period, we really have to assess some of that to see maybe if we have to close Ken Jones. If we close, since we have some money in our hand to do some enhancement work at Negril. Yeah? But I really believe the case for the Negril Airport is a done deal.
Well, I hear you, and thanks for those stats and so on. But our approach is that we want to grow and expand the arrival numbers to the point where it makes all those airports dotted around Jamaica economically viable and feasible. I mean, if you, again, think about Cayman, they can fit into Westmoreland 6.6 times. Barbados can fit into Westmoreland 3.2 times. You see where... Yet Cayman get over 1 million visitors, mind you, a lot of them is cruise and so on. So you see where we have the opportunity and the potential, especially being further north than Barbados. We're the third largest English-speaking country in the Americas. Not sure if you knew that. US is number 1, Canada number 2, Jamaica is number 3. This time number 3, but what it means is that with 70% of the world's trade being in English, and with the North American market being a lot more comfortable in countries where the language is the same as well, and with the sheer beauty of Jamaica and the vibe and the energy and so on, and with our crime rate going down significantly, I believe, and with the access via technology, the access to the market, I mean, we really can quadruple our numbers if all of Jamaica got behind it. You see what I mean? And that's the opportunity. It's not more resources that we need and so on. It's just almost just a switch in our mindset between our ears.
You're correct.
That's where the change is needed. So I think if we have more lobbying, more campaigning, and more visioneering, and more the type of visioneering where everyone is better off in that future, in that vision, not some better off and others still suffering. That kind of nonsense. It's where every single person is better off. The poor is richer and the rich is richer. And I think that model can be had in a country rich in assets and rich in resources like Jamaica. I mean, we have the 7th largest natural harbor in the world. It's 190 countries we have the 7th largest natural harbor. And I promise you, if any other country had the 7th largest natural harbor, the amount of industry, marine life, kayaking, sailboating, the expansion of that type of tourism experience in that area alone, the different kind of model in Portland, a low density model in Portland, the all-inclusives in Mobay and Trelawney and so on, the special charm in Treasure Beach and Negril. we can pretty much make each of our parishes almost like a whole island in terms of being a destination and getting the kind of volumes of visitors coming. So I'd much rather us work on the positive of opening more flow to the island, to spread the tourism dollar and create more wealth for Jamaicans, than to be fighting, to be cannibalizing or cutting back on that kind of thing. So that's my vision of 20 years ago, the only windows to the market were through very expensive channels. Travel magazines were very expensive, CNN ads, television ads overseas. Only Sandals and JTB and so on could afford it.
Yes.
Today we have 3 million channels to the world, 3 million windows. Everybody have a mobile phone and so on, can take a video or the picture or whatever and share it with the market. So the opportunity for us to become our own ambassadors of the blessing that we have. Remember, Jamaica has the highest repeat rate in the entire Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, Jamaica we could actually position Jamaica as the #1 destination on the planet, because who would contest us? Who would come close? The Maldives doesn't even have one mountain, right? Yes, they have some nice beaches and it's competing in terms of high end and have some nice villas and so on. Bali, what music come from Bali? Anybody who come from Bali, any athlete, anybody, what I mean. So when you add the variety of gems that we have as a country, if we were to package it and if we were to create a nation of hospitable people where 3 old women visitors can go to a corner bar and get drunk and stumble and still go home and they'll be totally safe. We need to get to that level of hospitality that will open the floodgates of the travelers that would be on a trip almost every weekend hopping over to Jamaica.
You
for the
remember
experience.
those Carey? Back in
course.
the hippie days. When
Yep.
the hippies used to come down there and go up in the hills of Mount Airy and Orange and get the good old sense in me and come back down drunk and high like a kite. Nobody does anything to them.
And that's the opportunity we have as a country and as a nation and as a people. In my speeches, I use one of the analogy when Barack Obama was becoming president, was campaigning for the first time. And in one of the interviews, he said, when I become president, to my allies, I'll look forward as president to working closely with you for the welfare of the world, of the planet. And then he said, to my enemies, I'll say to you, if you unclench your fists, I will shake your hand. Very, very powerful statement. So much so that as he became president, he actually won the Nobel Peace Prize because of that type of rhetoric, right? I see it similar for Jamaica. As soon as Jamaica unclench the fists of antisocial, fighting each other, of crime, of murder, of bad manism, of bad mind, all those things, as soon as we unclench those fists, we can fill their hands with tourism dollars.
Mm-hmm. Head boy, I know Dr. Wallace has overstayed his time with us in the sense because he has a lot of things to go and do. Dr. Wallace?
Yes, I've got the phone ringing off the hook with persons.
Yes. So I want you to ask him or let you wrap up now. I don't know, you want to do that for us? Head boy?
Sorry, Jeffrey, the final one I have for Dr. Wallace
Mm-hmm.
is just a quick question. Dr. Wallace, I want to see, because for example, when I come, I was just in Jamaica the other day, right? And particularly during this storm. And when you come into, I want to see, for example, I know you have the Senton Development Company. So I think it's SATCO, if I'm not mistaken, right? And in Negril, you have your version would be what they call the Negril and Green Island zone.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Right.
Have they changed it, Dr. Wallace?
No, you still have the Negril and Green Island Local Area Planning Authority.
Right.
There have been some amendments since then, adjusting some of the densities and so on to facilitate more development. But it's still, there's an oversight body called NEGALPA. Negril and Green Island Local Area Planning Authority.
Right.
Right. Why am I referring to that? One of the issues I am seeing in Jamaica, right, and particularly in Trelawney, and this is the thing that has alarmed me as somebody who I am now a big farmer, but me like farming. Yeah, a lot of our lands, particularly in Trelawney, which were known before as farmlands. Yeah, some of these lands are now housing hotels. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I am asking within the Negril, knowing that Negril is known for two things, yeah, the good sense demeanor and fun activities and good food. I am asking that within the framework of that committee, like SADCO, are there delineated areas that are known that nothing should go here, only food should plant here, or are they, because we don't want to have a scenario, because when I go into Hanover, I see the Princess, and we don't want to have a scenario where later a lot of people are pushed out of their communities to facilitate this development. So I'm just asking quickly, is there a planned approach like what we saw in St. Ann happening now in Negril and Green Island?
Right. So I know there are zones by Nagalpo that would delineate what type of development you can have, whether it's residential.
Right, 3 stories and so forth. Not about,
right, you have densities for what they call hospital, something rooms, habitable rooms, right? But you also have zone for commercial versus residential and so on as well too. I mean, how robust it is in terms of restricting for agriculture and so on. I think perhaps outside of that zone, maybe more in the parish council, with municipal corporations, that's where you probably likely have those kind of agricultural zones and so on. Still,
right.
I believe there is a good opportunity for investments in agriculture to supply tourism. Yes. Especially the type of precision, high yield agriculture that provides consistency and provides year-round supplies as well. Because if you're signing contracts with the hotels and so on to supply, you're gonna have people hungry mouths to feed every single day. You can't have a crop style thing where you just plant one time of the year and then you weed and fertilize, and then you harvest everything one time of the year, and then you try to find a market. That has to change to where you have a tiered farming type of setup where you are harvesting enough to supply your contract right throughout the year. And so there's an opportunity for more developed type of farming for the tourism sector, which our linkages team has been investing in significantly. Facilitating the farmers, giving them the information, getting the data, telling them what is in demand, telling them the price point. We even have an online trading platform called Agri-Linkages Exchange, where, because we have so many small farmers in Jamaica, and a lot of the large hotels are not accustomed to dealing with 100 small farmers to make up 1,000 pounds of carrot that they need every day. We didn't want them to find a path of least resistance, being where they import a container of carrots. We said, okay, tell you what, we'll create an online platform where, yes, it's going to be 100 clicks, but at least it just clicks from your computer. So then every morning you wake up, you see what's out there in the market and so on. You see the price points and so on. You can click, and then you can then secure that 1,000 pounds of carrots from 100 small farmers. But the platform provides that amalgamation and provides that facilitation and ease of access between the purchasing managers of the hotels and the farmers that we have out there. In fact, we have a program where we have a speed networking program where we have our manufacturers go in. We set up the convention center and have all the purchasing managers go in and all the manufacturers go in. We partner with JMEA. And they go in and meet with the purchasing managers, telling them about all the products and services that they have and so on island, so that more and more of our local products and services can be what the hotels purchase to again get the tourism dollar to spread further and further into the country. So we're doing a lot of work in that regard. Something else we're doing is training and certifying our tourism workers so that they can get the top jobs in the hotels as well. rather than just be at the bottom level so that we have again more wealth. If they're getting the top jobs, it means the top salaries, and so more wealth is coming into the communities across Jamaica along the value chain. So there's a lot of work being done. I know we're still far away from the great position we want to be in, but the good news is that it doesn't require just a reliance on the government to take all the action, because as I said, everybody has access to the market in their pockets. Everybody has access to making money from tourism in their pockets. You don't even have to have an accommodation to sell. You can sell a service. I know people this one guy who love party in Kingston, and him go to every single thing every night, Wednesday, Wednesday, and this and that, and know the whole trip. And he decided to create a Airbnb experience. And so him using a car, and the people book it, that him just pick them up and take them around to all these parties. He had to end up buying a bus. He had to end up buying 2 buses. That's how much the business expanded. And he's just doing something he loves, taking people around to the different parties each night, and then dancing with them and chatting them, telling them about the place and so on. So a lot of the barriers that we used to have in tourism, where you would have to go to tour operators and travel agents and over middle people who would look you up and down to see what family name you have, or whatever the buyer sees to give you a blight. Today those barriers are down. Technology has flattened those barriers. So every Jamaican that pretty much has access to the market, and it's time for us to recognize that and also take advantage of that, because we are sitting on the gold mines, we're sitting on the gems, we're sitting on the assets. If you drop a tourist randomly in Jamaica anywhere within a 5-mile radius, I promise you can find either a beach or a river, or a waterfall, or a blue hole, or a mineral spark. Enough of a tourist experience that is value that you can sell and make money.
I want to show you something, Dr. Wallace, and let you go. I want to show you a video here. And the person is coming on next after you come on. I want to show you a video where a group of Jamaican hotel workers protest outside the Songs International Airport. Are you aware of it?
Yes, I saw it.
I hope there it is. Yes, I want to show you this video here. And the person who led this protest is in the chat room waiting on us, in the studio waiting to come on in. His name is Michael Dono. We call him Jamaica. I want you to listen to this, Dr. Wallace.
Scenes outside the Sangster International Airport on Monday as tourism workers protested working conditions. Led by Michael Dono, president of the National Hospitality Workers Union, protesters voiced their frustration over wages and treatment in the sector. Mr. Dono says workers are being left behind despite growth in the industry.
I don't know why you're not hearing it.
You hearing it, Head Boy?
Head Boy?
Yes, I'm hearing it on my side. Jeffrey, I think I might have to come off the line so Doc can hear it. So what I'll do, I'll come off the line, allow Jamaica to come in so Doc can hear it. And if Jamaica and Doc have to say something, then you can call me, Jeffrey. Yeah?
Okay.
I think no problem.
Okay. Jamaica, are you hearing the video?
Good evening. I'm hearing loud and clear.
Okay, hold on for me. I don't know what's going on, why Dr. Wallace not hearing it. Doc, turn up your system for me now.
I mean, I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Scenes outside the Sangster International Airport on Monday as tourism workers protested working conditions. Led by Michael Dono.
Still not hearing the video?
Still not hearing it.
Okay, I think there's something going on with it. Okay, basically what he was doing, Dr. Wallace, is that this young man here, he is the president for the Jamaica. Can you remind me, please?
The National Hospitality Workers Union. Good evening to everyone.
And there was a big protest out of the Songs International Airport on a couple of days ago, where hotel workers were not being compensated in the sense of during this hurricane season. They have lost their roof, they have lost everything, and they hear nothing from the government. So they led a protest. I know you have to run, Dr. Wallace, but give me a couple more minutes. Let Jamaica explain to you, then maybe you can assist them or something.
Sure.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Wallace. Good evening, Uncle Jeffrey, and good evening to all listeners.
Good evening, sir.
It's always a great pleasure to speak to our Jamaican family, whether it be local or in the diaspora. It's a great pleasure. And I must say to you, we did not have a protest on December 15. We had a rally. It's
Okay.
about informing the Jamaican people about the tourism product. I myself has been in the tourism industry for over a decade in the capacity of a Guild of English Professional Butler. So I've seen, witnessed exploitation firsthand and also from my other team members. What was being spoken in the clip just now is to explain to Jamaican people that tourism in Jamaica, the product of tourism, make $4.38 billion US. $2 to $4 is paid to the staff in Jamaica. And you look at Barbados, they make $1.4 billion and they get a $5 to $8 per hour. So we make 3 times as much as them, and they get paid 2 times as much as us. And we're saying that should not continue. We're saying, why is that acceptable for the Jamaican people? We got the best tourism resort destination in the Caribbean 15 times in a row. And if we are doing the best in tourism, we must be treated, we must be compensated better. And we look at the tourism industry, right? The tourism ministry, there's 2 agencies, TEF and TPDCO. TEF started in 2005 and started in operation in 2006, TPDCO 1996. These agencies collects 10 to 15% of tax that goes to the government. And we're saying in a time like now that the Jamaican people are experiencing a very tough time. There was a report from the New York Times on December 1st saying almost 500,000 people have been displaced and they are suffering in silence, and that is the truth. The fact is there are many people who have called me and they're telling me that they're hungry and the tourism product has not been able to adequately impact their lives. And that is the reason why 9 different hotels protested last year. And instead of we seeing any amendment in the laws, adjustment to the salaries, better treatment for the staff, unfortunately, we haven't seen nothing like that.
So hold on for me, head boy. Hold on for me, head. Jamaica. Dr. Wallace, I don't know if you can talk to him about that because I know you gotta run. I know you gotta run. Is there any way you can speak to Jamaica about this, or is it in a ministerial position that you can't speak on?
I'll just get some general responses. So the first one is this: as we get to where our unemployment levels are significantly lower, to the point where we were approaching full employment in Jamaica, what happens in a case like that is you then end up where the worker has a handle instead of having the blade. When you were a couple years ago, when you were desperate and they could fire and hire persons and in a minute they can replace because everybody is beating down your doors to try and get a job, the attitude would have been quite different then. But as you have, as we grow the industry and have more demand for workers, and we anticipate that the terms and the market forces that will force them, if they want to keep good people, to have to therefore compensate and have better terms, just as it is in any other country in the world. It's not the laws that make the best people go to companies. It's the compensation package that the companies do. It's a kind of market forces thing, not a government influenced thing. Maybe a minimum wage and those things the government can influence. But after that, it's really market forces that dictate. And so, if you are treating your workers like crap, you're gonna see us. You're gonna see a Jamaica where you can't get any employees because somebody has gobbled them up a long time. So, we work hard on training and certifying our Jamaican workers so that they are moving up in their skills. They're moving up in their not just skills, not just being good at what they do, but having the certification, the international certification to prove just that. So that's why JCTI, or Jamaica Center of Tourism Innovation, has trained and certified over 10,000 Jamaicans already since we started that program. So those international certifications can work anywhere in the world. So you become such a more valuable commodity, if you want to, just for that the demand supply dynamic works in your favor.
Can I?
Yes, you only have a minute to go now, Jamaica, because I know he said he has to run. So just go and have a minute, and then have Dr. Wallace wrap up, and then he can go.
When we look in other Caribbean countries, we see progressive laws that have been able to protect the people and also preserve their rights. So NHWU, we operate off 3 Ps: protect, preserve, and prosper, right? Protect, when we scrutinize the Labor Relation Industrial Dispute Act, that is an act from 1975. So imagine using a computer from 1975 to operate in 2025. That simply means that the law is not effective, and it is not protecting the people. The people don't feel like that law is for them because, for example, what happened at Bahia Principe, almost 2,000 staff has been placed on redundancy, and we got a glimpse of what was going to come from 9 different hotels protested last year, and twice Bahia did. And there was no contingency plan, because when it comes from government creates policies and legislation, not goodwill coming from hoteliers, not charity, and not programs that is insufficient and inadequate in terms of impacting the people's life. I am bemused to think that an industry that employs 529,000 people indirectly and directly, 175 directly, to 354 indirectly, and there is no contingency plan. There is no unemployment grant, right? There's nothing in place to protect the most essential workers of the country. And I look at this, and I look at TEF and TPDCOs as agencies that is there for the Jamaican people. And the mandate of TEF, correct me if I'm wrong, is to enhance the tourism product, to promote community-based initiatives. And I look around and I see that our communities, especially the one that surrounds the tourism product, they're impoverished. They're in poor state. There's no community centers that are developed. There's no programs for the people that are there. When you look, the people are serving people in beautiful suites. Again, I've worked in the tourism industry for over a decade. Beautiful suites.
I think let me stop you there, because you're using some stats that are false.
Okay.
So I hear the passion, and I hear that you want to see change. But I prefer when you get the numbers accurate. To say there are no community centers, to say there is no investment in the tourism. We are, for instance, right now as we speak, we spent over $1 billion in Grange Pen, a squatter community that we're regularizing. We put in water, sewage right across from Iberia Star. Putting in water, sewage, power, uplifting the quality of all those communities.
What are the numbers you want to?
So no, you said none. You said no community center. You said no. So I think if you're a bright fellow, bright Jamaican, and I would love for that brilliance to be in the direction of getting solutions. Not in the direction of winning an argument for the sake of winning an argument. Let's get it toward getting solutions. So when you start saying things like no community centers and so on, when I know for a fact, in fact, today we have a Christmas for tourism children event happening at community centers across the tourism resort. Today, TEF funded that. You know what I mean? So I want you to say not enough rather than say none, because the point is valid, and I will take that any day that there's more that could be done to facilitate more equity in the tourism sector.
My
honest feeling is that more and more Jamaicans need to be the ones stepping forward rather than sitting back and pointing and complaining. Let me contrast, for instance. Why is it that we don't have Jamaican hotels in Spain and Mexico and wherever these hotels that are building these massive hotels? Why aren't Jamaicans there with massive hotels in their countries, treating their people over there like crap? We have a tourism paradise here. We have years and years of tourism. Why aren't more Jamaicans being the ones owning hotels in Jamaica? Why aren't more Jamaicans being the ones
That's a very good
control?
Question. That's a very good
control of our industry. Look at the difference between Sandals and some of the other chains, for instance, that in terms of the response post Melissa. It's night and day. Bahia versus night and day.
Can I weigh in on that?
So the point is, now that we have tools and avenues and opportunities, we recognize that what has hindered us was us catching our own cells faster than and facilitating people who don't look like us faster to get through in this country, to get a forward movement in this country. We are our own enemies if you really do the assessment. And so the best thing we can do is be more facilitatory of each other's rise at this stage. But to be busy fighting each other and no pointing and complaining about how the situation we find present to the year 2025, I'd much rather work closely with you in solutioneering for a vision that we have for 26, 27 and beyond. So that a bright young Jamaican like yourself, along with us, whether government, whether private sector, whether in radio, wherever we are working to, because people united are unstoppable.
I do agree with that. But for me, as a Guild of English Professional Butler, which I said I did for over 9 years, if I don't do my task, which is mandated to me, right, then I won't have a job. And if we have an industry for so long, right, let's say for the last 10, 15 years, and again, I chase back to the law being there from 1975, which is outdated, right? And I come back to today's date, which you said, yes, we need to work together. The mandate of TEF and TPDCO, these two agencies that are pivotal in terms of TPDCO is to train and certified, right? TEF is to enhance the community tourism and also support SMEs, farm-to-table solutions, all of these things, right? When I look and I evaluate over the last 10 years, what are the companies, what are the small companies that TEF and TPDCO have actually funded and fostered so that they can take part in the tourism product? Also, a point that you have
let's answer that one before we go to the next point. So we are not allowed to fund private enterprises. Our job is to lift the tide so that all boats rise. So we don't pump money into an attraction. We pump money into the roads leading to the attraction and the communities around. We don't. What's some beautiful people? Invest, because it's public funds. I mean, if we take up money and then give it to private individuals, they would crucify us. How do you keep it equitable and fair and all those things? So the best thing that we can do is lift the tide so that all boats rise, and that's what we do. So we have many programs that are building out infrastructure, that are training and certifying staff, that are creating the linkages to support sectors and so on. If you go on our website, tef.gov.jm, you'll see the host of projects that we're doing to facilitate the enhancement of Destination Jamaica. So our job is every year, Destination Jamaica must be improved, must be better and better and better and better year after year after year. If a visitor comes to Jamaica this 2025 and then comes back 2027, they must see an improved Jamaica, whether it's improved efficiencies, whether it's improved looks, whether it's improved access, whether it's improved technology, whether it's improved training. It must be an improved Jamaica, and that's what Urban Funds' responsibility is. We invest a lot in innovation as well too. We believe that as a destination, we shouldn't have this attitude where somebody else must create new products and new methods and new systems in tourism, and then we just try and learn from it and follow. We believe that we can stand up ourselves and we can be the ones innovating. I'll give you an example. We created a DJ academy for tourism to train and certify our DJs in the tourism space to be able to spin and be great at entertaining an international cosmopolitan audience, rather than, you know, many of the DJs kind of just grow up in the local and can spin good at that kind of thing, but their knowledge and their expertise is appealing to the locals. We created this academy and we said, okay, we wanted to give them an international accreditation. And we searched the planet and couldn't find one. Anybody who did it. And we said, you know what, we are going to be the international accreditation for the world then. So we are partnering with HAT, partner with City of Guild, creating the program, and we've trained and certified many persons, and the whole idea is setting up the Tourism DJ Academy right here from Jamaica, being the global leader, having innovated. So anybody from anywhere else who now wants that level of accreditation, they have to come to Jamaica for that. So I want us to start thinking less as minnows depending on others for for the crumbs and our welfare, but to recognize the outstanding people that we are. The spirit of Marcus, the spirit of Nani, the spirit of our forefathers inside of us, destined to be a great people. We show it in Spurs. We show it in Give Us a Chance. We'll show it with a cricket, with
May I come back in there?
All right, sure.
Because I just want clarity. TEF, right? Are they responsible to also provide grants for SMEs?
Not grants. We have loan facilities for the SMEs.
So loans
Exec and Jamaica National, subsidized loans.
So loans and no grants. No grants. Okay.
No grants. We will sponsor events if they are aligned to the development plan that we have. Meaning, if we want, for instance, to take advantage of Jamaican coffee being such an international brand and of such a high standard on a global scale, but not incorporated in our tourism product enough. Persons will travel to Jamaica and then happen to have Blue Mountain coffee and like it. But we know people who travel for gastronomy, travel because they're coffee connoisseurs, and then they choose to come here. So if there's a coffee festival that's being planned, for instance, mind you, we have done the coffee festival, but let's say the rum festival, where our rums are again award winning and so on, and to throw a rum festival to then pull visitors into the island, then yes, the TEF would consider lending some support for the development, not for a perpetual sponsorship, but for the development of the festival so that it can run on its own and become another gem on the tapestry of offerings that destination Jamaica has. Because we believe we can fill flights with people traveling for food, we can fill flights with people who travel for entertainment, we can fill flights with people who travel for coffee connoisseuring, fill flights for people coming for bird watching, fill flights for people coming for adventure tours. We want to build out as many of those great things that we have that separate us from other destinations, because very few destinations have that combination of assets and advantages. So we can become wealthy from that. Everybody will be jealous of Jamaica.
Dr. Wallace, what are we doing to stop other people from thieving our coffee brand? What are we doing? What are we doing to assist, as what Jamaica is saying, the younger set of Jamaicans who want to? You talk about Jamaicans, why Jamaicans have hotels in Spanish-speaking countries. What are we doing here to assist our Jamaicans from being enslaved by these hotel owners? If I'm wrong, you can tell Mr. Jeffrey chatting nonsense.
It's the right terminology, enslaved.
I believe, Dr. Wallace, that majority of these hotels along the 7 Mile Beach in Negril and come all around to Hanover and all the way home to St. Anne's is modern day slavery.
It is.
What are we doing?
Why
sir?
would you say that? Are they not paying for the services? Are the people
Sir,
free to choose somewhere else?
Dr.
work?
Wallace, they're not paying our people properly, Dr. Wallace.
Well, say that, but slavery is when you work for free and you can't leave your freedom. I think it's too harsh a word. So again, if we're looking at solutions, let's just speak from the position of truth so that we can then. But if you move backwards, we have to spend time correcting so that.
Well, let me rephrase that.
So let's move forward. We could have better working conditions, better payments, and so on in the industry. And certainly, as we move towards growth and more jobs being provided, I promise you the dynamic will change in terms of of who has the handle and who has the blade. Now, for instance, every hotel that comes into Jamaica, now they have to build not just hotel rooms, they have to build accommodations for tourism workers. 10 years ago, we couldn't do that. We're desperate. We have to be glad if anybody was coming in, building hotels and providing jobs. Today, we are in a much better position now. We can say, listen, the Palladium's expansion is 500 rooms. The Princess had to build 400 rooms for tourism workers. So every single one of them have to do that.
May I say something about that? I am completely against that practice. Why I say this? Tourism workers contribute the most to NHT. Housing solution is different from what hoteliers are making for people, giving them apartment buildings. They have families. They want to have their own homes. They want that privilege, and they deserve that privilege when they contribute the most to NHT. So I am totally against that, and I've had conversation with many other hotel workers. The thing is, there's no consultation being done with the experts. As I said, I have worked in the tourism industry. I know it inside and out because I grew up in it. And the thing is, if we're continuing to make decisions on the behalf of people without consulting them, I think that is disrespectful. It's just like when we were
so you just made a very, very strong statement that we did not do any consultation. Can you confirm that really? Are you just feeling that way?
Am I feeling
I'm telling
that
you
way?
we consulted. I'm telling you there was consultation.
Consultation with?
Of course, maybe they didn't consult you personally, but there was consultation with the whole sector. No, tell me, have you ever lived abroad? Have you ever lived abroad? In some of the cities abroad? All right. Do you know how many persons live in worse accommodations than what they're building for the tourism workers? Do you know that it's mostly squatter communities that would have had before? So we're making a forward step. I'm not saying it's ideal, I'm not saying it's ideal. What I'm saying is that it's a starter. It's a starter home. When you want a family, by then you would have moved up the ranks and you move out and you move into the suburbs and you have your own house and you have your own family. But don't tell me that a youngster who have nothing, no place to live, come down to Westmoreland to get a job, and then you get accommodation in an apartment, and you're saying you are totally against that.
Mr. Wallace.
I think one of the things you need to do, my brother, one of the things you need to do is open up your mind to not just because we don't have the perfect situation today, that nothing is being done. I want you to look at the progress that we are making in the sector. There's no progress, then it doesn't make sense to continue the conversation. Then,
with all due respect,
Jeffrey,
if
you think so, then I don't think we are
saying as progress. What we are saying as progress is in the eyes of those who are not in the tourism industry. Again, when 9 different hotels protested last year, it's not because all was well. What was done for those people? Nothing. And I heard you said earlier.
Nothing. There were adjustments to all the terms in every single one of those 9 hotels. So when you say nothing again, you're not arguing. You're not arguing for solutions. You're just arguing to win an argument. So go ahead, look good, win this argument. I will just leave, and you just win that argument because there's no point in not. I would rather spend my time looking towards a solution. And I can tell he's a brilliant guy. I can tell he's a brilliant guy. And I just want to start with the truth of where we are, what has worked, what we're progressing with. But to say things like no progress on those things is it's kind of market argument, rumbar arguments, and I honestly,
think
I'd much rather go back to building the industry with my time and energy and attention rather than staying in that kind of.
I think what we need to do is to have Dr. Wallace and Jamaica may have a one-on-one conversation, maybe a telephone, or you meet him somewhere in Kingston. I don't know, at his office in Kingston or something, and have a one-on-one conversation. Can that be done, Dr. Wallace?
Of course. I mean, my job is to transform Jamaica to a first world nation. So I look at Jamaica right now and I see one of Jamaica's greatest assets in him. Yes. And the best thing we can do is channel his energy, his efforts, his brilliance towards being one of the solutionaries for Jamaica. And I see too many of them busy being creating more reasons to blame, to fight, to be part of the cussing and complaining as opposed to part of the partnership for solutions. And that's all I'm trying to get. So when if we can get more into that path, then I promise you we'd work very, very close together.
Okay, because hold on to Jamaica. Hold on for me. What I'm going to do, Jamaica, because I know Carey very well, and I'm going to ask him. I'm going to call him after this. I'm going to talk to him maybe tomorrow. I'm going to ask him to have a conversation with you, have a meeting with you, that both of you can sit down and see what he can do to assist in what you're saying, and we can come to a decision or a decision to see how we can help each other to really help other hotel workers and so forth. And I don't want we to go and people think that we're fighting, because we're not.
Absolutely. No,
we're not. And I see some people chatting in the chat room and other things a while ago, and I don't want that.
No, my apologies to them and apologies to anybody else.
What I want to do is to have Dr. Wallace and you sit and talk. Dr. Wallace, I know you have to run because you go all over the time. You're supposed to stay from 7 until 8 o'clock, and it's now 9 o'clock. I want you to wrap up for me. Talk to us. Give us about 5 minutes, and then you can, I can talk to you off.
Right. So what I just like to close with is to say we understand that Jamaica's assets, that apart from its natural assets that we've been blessed with, but its cultural assets that our people have created. So many others before us have created a country that has phenomenal potential. Our international reputation, the image that we create in the eyes of others when they think about Jamaica creates a brand that is very, very valuable. Tourism provides an opportunity, because what is tourism really? It's when people save up their money, take time off, get babysitters for the kids, go on a flight, come all the way here to just experience what we have every day for a week. To come and experience the sun, experience the beach, experience the waterfalls, experience the clean air. It's just experiencing life here for a week, to then go back and then start saving up again and planning for the next year to do it. And that we happen to be born here in this paradise. And as a people, the opportunity we have is to convert this paradise into a hospitable environment that has equity for all, and it can be done. Other countries have done it and so on. We're coming out of a past and a history where there are a lot of wrongs to be righted, but it doesn't happen overnight. But what I know is that most of the wrongs have been created by the way we have been conditioned as a people to spend more of our energies and time against each other, as opposed to collaborating with each other and supporting each other and coordinating with each other and valuing each other, respecting each other, and understanding that we cannot have a developed country unless more and more Jamaicans are adding value to the country. Developed status is when the average GDP per capita is 40,000 US per annum. We are at about 7,000 US per annum. So our productivity has to be increased by about 7 times. Meaning each man hour that we spend creating value must yield 7 more than what we're doing today. Now, that will help if we are facilitator of each other, because a lot of those unproductivity is created by just people in our way, people catching us. If things that would take a second to get through elsewhere takes 4 days or 4 weeks to get through in Jamaica by just bureaucracy or when people catching each other, that kind of thing. So we can open doors, we can be facilitator, we can be supportive. I mean, it doesn't have to have $1 of cost to start this program and this process. We can just be simply encouraging, be kind, be supportive. You know what I mean? To the security guard that we pass, to everybody that we see, we can make them feel better, make them feel empowered, make them realize that they are very, very valuable, especially as a Jamaican. Every Jamaican is born a star. And so we harness that in our people, I believe we'll be unstoppable. So that's my message, and that's my mantra. I honestly believe Jamaica can become a developed country in my lifetime. And every day I wake up, my team and myself, we work towards achieving that goal.
Dr. Carey Wallace, Executive Director of the Tourism Enhancement Fund, one of Negril, son of the soil, a good friend of mine. We grew up together. And I must say, Dr. Wallace, I am asking you publicly, sir, to please see what you can do to sit and speak to Jamaica.
Yeah, man, I will for sure. Honestly, I give my word.
Thank you very much. There's a lot of people who love to get some insight, and I want you to speak to him, sir. So what I will do...
Share my number, and it's my WhatsApp numbers as well. Just send me a WhatsApp, and then you schedule something.
Yes.
I appreciate your time, Dr. Wallace, and I look forward to seeing some town hall meetings that more people can come and express, and the Jamaican people, whether local or in the diaspora, can understand the situation that is coming out of the communities, because it's important, it's imperative that we hear the voices of those who are experiencing the struggle. I look at it as what I
will do come January, I will maybe put a proposal to Carey to see if they can sponsor a program here where they can come on air here and take telephone calls and speak to the people, rapport with the people and so forth. I don't know if we can do something like that, Carey, because a lot of people in Jamaica would love to hear from the tourism sector, would love to hear from Minister Bartlett. We sit and we talk. We're not cussing anybody. We just sit and talk. No PNP, no JLP. We just sit and talk and see what we can do to really assist our people, to really take away the negative thoughts from our people about the tourism sector and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? Maybe come January we can do something like that, sir.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure. So take this opportunity to wish everybody season's greetings.
Thank you very much, and same to you and your family, sir.
Yeah,
thanks for coming on, my friend.
All right, thanks.
Same to you and your family. Take care.
Thanks.
Dr. Carey Wallace there from the Jamaica Tourist Board. He is the executive director of the Tourism Enhancement Fund. He came on air, he didn't come on air to speak about wages or hotel workers in a sense, but I decided to put it to him, Jamaica, and I'm happy I did. Jamaica, I want you to talk to me now about what is going on within the hotel workers, because as I said, and he said, and no Carey, he's going to meet with you.
Yeah.
He will meet with you.
Yeah.
So, as soon as you come off air, I'm going to give you the number that you can talk to him and see, So talk to me about what happened day to day with the hotel workers. You and them was out there at Sanks International Airport. Talk to me about that.
Yes. Thank you for providing this platform.
Hold on, I need to put up the
video.
Yes, the video. I don't know why he didn't hear it, because I think there's something wrong with the system too, Anyway, let's play back this video and also put up the GoFundMe. Here is the video.
Scenes outside the Sanks International Airport on Monday as tourism workers protested working conditions. Led by Michael Downer, president of the National Hospitality Workers Union, protesters voiced their frustration over wages and treatment in the sector. Mr. Downer says workers are being left behind despite growth in the industry.
So we're at the airport to tell the guests that are coming in and also the staff, and to appeal to our government that the tourism workers are not okay. And therefore, if tourism makes $4.38 billion US, the Jamaican people must be getting better pay, better treatment. Because you look at Barbados, they make $1.4 billion. They pay their staff $5 to $8 per hour. That is 3 times as much as Jamaicans do, when we get 2 times as Jamaicans, while we get 3 times as much of them. So we are saying we need to have a change in the tourism model that can benefit Jamaicans for long-term sustainability.
Mr. Downer also raised concerns about the Labor Redundancy Act, describing it as outdated and calling for amendments that he says would better protect and benefit Jamaican workers.
We also have issue with the Redundancy Act. The Labor Relation Industrial Dispute Act of 1975 is an outdated law that over 50 years, and both political parties have overseen this and not seek to change it to benefit the Jamaican people. So we are asking that it be amended, and before it's been amended, consultation must be done with the expert that is in the tourism industry. Those who have been playing a part, let them be consulted so that we can craft these legislations so it better serve the interests of Jamaican people.
The NHWU president questions why Jamaica, a leading tourist destination in the Caribbean, has failed to enact legislation that benefits its people.
If in Turks and Caicos they can put tax on tourism and give the staff up to 60% of that, and they're pushing for 100% of that to go to the staff, why Jamaica, that is given a title 15 times in a row, the best tourism destination in the Caribbean, cannot craft legislation to benefit the Jamaican people? That is what we're talking about, for changes.
There you have it. What on earth is that? What is playing in the background? Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear.
You hear something in the background playing?
Not by me. I'm not hearing anything playing.
Okay. Talk to us some more about that. The video there that was came up.
Yeah, as I continuously say, and I would love Jamaican people to understand this. Just think about it, that Jamaica makes $4.38 billion US. I will say this over and over so people understand the seriousness of it. We make $4.38 billion. Our staff get paid $2 to $4 per hour. And Barbados, they make $1.4 billion US, and they pay their staff $5 to $8 per hour. That is 2 times as much as we pay our staff, whilst we get 3 times as much as them. Why should that continue? Why is that? Why is that something that we will sit and accept? And when I was out there, not just me, but when we were out there at that rally, we also crying for the Bahia staff, that almost 2,000 of them is placed on redundancy, going home with only 2 weeks of pay. And most of these hotels are slated to be open in September, October of next year. So we're asking the government, with theft collected in 2023, 2024, over $9.2 billion in tax. And as I said to Mr. Wallace, with all due respect, I hear he speak about some lovely things that they want to do and all of these things. But we're saying the people of Jamaica, the tourism workers, which are essential workers, they're suffering in silence. And instead of we look at unemployment, so that these people can at least have for 6 months full payment. Because remember, this is not any small industry. This is the bread basket. Tourism contributes to 35% of the GDP, the gross domestic product, right? Are produced. So if that is the case, if they are big players, treat them that way. That is simple. That what we're saying. I hear. Go ahead. Not hearing you.
You said if there are big players, who you want the big players to treat better? The hotel workers?
Yeah, if the hotels are big time player in our economy, the growth of our economy, then we must treat them better. You understand? I believe that is a no-brainer. And we are asking, as I said to Mr. Wallace, we need to have town hall meetings so the people can freely express themselves. A lot of people, Uncle, when I come out here and I speak about the situation of tourism workers, a lot of people are reluctant to speak up because they're afraid of losing their jobs. So when I came out and I spoke first at Royalton Blue Waters about better treatment. I was terminated. Mr. Master Haley said that God redirected my purpose. But on paper, they terminated my contract. And when I asked why they terminated my contract, I was told they don't have to give me no reason. That is how my employment ended. And I tried to get other jobs after coming out and speaking about it. I was blacklisted. Couldn't get a job to provide for myself and provide for my son. And a lot of people don't want to be a Jamaicans. I have bite the bullet for 529,000 Jamaicans. And I'm appealing to them. We will never get another chance to let our voices be heard and change the complexion of this plantation tourism. And we have to say it as raw as possible.
Plantation tourism.
Plantation tourism.
How do you call it that?
It is plantation tourism because the Jamaican people are not being treated like human beings. It is remnants of slavery. Because guess what? They're not treated properly, right? There are hotels, if you drink a bottle of water, you have to pay $5,000 for it if caught. There is no cooling station. $5,000. And there is no $5,000 Jamaican dollars for one bottle of water. That is plantation tourism. People are not getting their overtime pay. The facility where the people have to eat is not sanitary. They're not getting the resources in order to adequately meet the guests' needs. And this causes psychological pressure onto the people. And they go home and subconsciously they're passing that on to their families. So it's mentally draining, and a lot of people don't know how to express themselves. And that is the reason why I'm here, NHW as well, or Vice President, Ms. Foster. She teaches about your rights and your powers, right? So every Thursday, we have leadership training. We have different strategic training just to inform people about their rights in Jamaica. Since I've been speaking up about the tourism products, my friends and my family started looking at me weird. They stopped talking to me. They stopped dealing with me. So I'm isolated. But this which I am going after and NHW is going after, it's our purpose. And the purpose is bigger than any individual, right? And we're saying that we are not against no government. We are not against any hotelier. We are against exploitation. It is a no-no, and moving forward, we must change the complexion of what tourism is, moving from the model of plantation tourism now to a model that allows the community to play a part in it. So when I hear about the wonderful things that TEF is thinking about doing or what they're doing, when I look at the communities is a total contrast of what has been spoken and what is being put up on social media or even a website. I scrutinize these things daily because it's over a year now since I've been out of employment. God knows how I have been able to take care of myself and my family. But again, I say purpose is what NHW is about. And we must secure a better future for the Jamaican people, because tourism is wealth creation and it is intangible. That means you cannot touch it. It is in the way how we speak. It's the way how we eat, how we dance, how we totally express ourselves. Our culture must be respected and also preserved. All right. So
I want you to touch on the. I'm getting a wrap-up signal from Cayman because I'm broadcasting in Cayman too. So I'm getting a wrap-up signal from them. Yes. I want you to touch on the GoFundMe that I have up in the chat room. Talk to me about that. Why you have a GoFundMe going on?
Thank you. All right. So what we have been doing for our members, we have give them back care packages. We also have a mutual aid fund, as small as it is. And I must say thank you to the diaspora that has been contributing, right? But we want to continue to have this public notification, these rallies, so the Jamaican public can understand that the tourism product needs to be better for them. And we're asking that if you can assist us, it's well needed, that we want to continue to do what we're doing, from our training, our coaching, and items to go out, bottles of water, flyers. I don't have one with me right now, or flyers and stuff to print these things, to get them out there. We're really asking our Jamaican families that we are on a mission. And the mission is to change the complexion of what tourism is. And with your help, we are able to change it and do good for our Jamaican people. So don't believe in us, believe with us and see change that will come from that. We ask for your assistance.
And for those who are trying to figure out what Jamaica is talking about, I pinned it in the chat room. The GoFundMe, tell them where can they find the GoFundMe? Go ahead and talk to them about that.
All right, so we will be posting the GoFundMe on our social media platform. So we have it on Facebook. So that's NHW Michael at Facebook. And we have
what is the GoFundMe name?
The GoFundMe name, it's just NHW.
Okay.
Yes, just NHW. And you will see what we have done so far, what we will be doing as well in terms of engaging with communities. And I must say that we have been getting great guidance and also assistance from JABEM with Dr. Taylor, Jamaica Beach Birthright Environmental Movement. And let me tell you, man, this is a movement. When you see how the people speak and represent themselves after being trained by Dr. Taylor and the team, you will be proud, right? And this is a movement of people, because what we see that Jamaican people have been starved of information. And when we're able to get the information in a consumable way that it resonates with the people, then change is inevitable. And tomorrow we will be at Little Duns River. Believe this or not, uncle, that the people at Little Duns River have been locked out of the beach where they have been for over 50 odd years. So Christmas is coming and the people are not being able to go on the beach throughout the week to make money for themselves and their family. 2 days a week cannot feed people family, man. It is wrong. It is really wrong, and we have to stand against it. Imagine only 4% is a percent of our beach we can access. Soon we'll have nothing to go down to, and we're saying we must stand against that.
I want you to do me a favor too. When you go to the Duns River tomorrow, Depends on what time you're going there. Maybe I can bring it. You can bring it live to when I put it live on the channel here. So we can talk about that tomorrow also. And just to let you know that I will be giving you Dr. Carey Wallace number for you and him to sit and talk. He's a nice person. I can tell you that much. He will sit and he will talk to you. And whatever way he can assist, he will assist or whatever. So, you know, we can talk about that. Jamaica, I know you've been working hard. So I'm asking you, please be careful.
Thank you.
Please be very, very careful and watch your back.
Thank you.
Watch your back, because those who you think may not, they will maybe have somebody else. Anyway, let's not go down that road, but just be careful. And every time you go out, I don't have to tell you, you grew up into a home that talk about God. I don't have to tell you what to do. But, you know, I pray in God in his mercy that he will guide you and protect you, my brother. And in all that you're doing, that he will give you the spirit of boldness and not the spirit of fear.
Thank you.
And that's what I ask God for every day of my life. Give me the spirit of boldness, not the spirit of fear. That I can speak up on the behalf of the people of our country and other people around the world who needs to hear our voice. Jamaica, your final word to your people, to the people of our country, Jamaica. Go ahead.
Thank you. St. Augustine says that hope has two beautiful doctors, anger and courage. You must be angry at the way things are and be courageous enough to ensure that they don't remain as such. Fear is false evidence appearing to be real. We have one life, right? We have to make it count. We're not against any government. We're not against any hotelier. We're against exploitation. This law, the 1975 Labor Relation Industrial Dispute Act, has been there for over 50 years. The Jamaican people are not being protected. We stand as a vanguard and a catalyst for change, that the things as they are will not remain. And we say thank you for those who have been supporting us. Thank you for those who will be supporting us. And we are here for change. Tell your family members about us. Come and stand with us, because Jamaica needs you and I. And Uncle, you have been doing an awesome job. And I take what you just say to me as advice, and I will keep it dear to my heart and put it in my prayer. And to say, Jamaican people, we love you. Love us back as we create the change that we deserve. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming on, Jamaica. I want to say thanks to Dr. Carey Wallace, Executive Director of the Tourism Enhancement Fund, head boy, and also Jamaica. I want to say thanks to Cayman Mall Road over there in the Cayman Islands, who help us to broadcast to the people of the Cayman Islands, my other home. And by the way, come January of next year, we will be going to another platform that will be broadcasting live in, well, actually it's a radio station. We're broadcasting live in New York, and I think in Tampa and Mississippi. Is it Mississippi? Or Massachusetts, I think. Anyway, we will be broadcasting live in some of those areas come next year. So we'll give you some more details about this. I want to say thanks to Head Boy and everybody for coming on. Happy holidays to all those who have joined us. You may not see me tomorrow, or I may come back on tomorrow. It all depends. I want to say thank you all for coming on. Thanks. Yes. Thank you all for coming on. And remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. There are so many works to be done and so many information to give out. May God bless you. May God bless our island home, Jamaica, land we love. Thanks to all the people of the Cayman Islands who tune in via Cayman Mall Road. Thanks to all the viewers and subscribers. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. Until you hear my voice again, may God bless you. May God bless the people of Jamaica and the people of the Cayman Islands. Have a great night, everybody.
As children, we learn the true meaning of being a hero. Being a hero requires great sacrifice for others, not just ourselves. We learned about the heroes of Jamaica's past and how much of themselves and their lives they had to give in building a nation we should be proud to call home. They believed in a Jamaica that was more than just a country, more than just an island, more than land surrounded by water. They believed in a dream of a free nation of people, a nation built on the foundation of their sacrifices, a nation of many people working as one, a nation that would continue to produce legends and nation builders that serve towards that vision. As children, we were also taught the national pledge, a solemn promise, an undertaking. I would like to believe Sir Hugh Sherlock, while writing this pledge, understood the vision and dreams of our heroes. It's clear being a hero is too much to ever ask any one citizen. Luckily, the pledge does not require heroics of any of us. It merely asks that we honor our heroes by striving to advance our nation and ultimately inspire the world, like they and many Jamaicans have done. It's important we remember those words. These words. Before God and all mankind, I pledge the love and loyalty of my heart, the wisdom and courage of my mind, the strength and vigor of my body in service of my fellow citizens. I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace, to work diligently and creatively, to think generously and honestly, so that Jamaica may, under God, increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity, and play her part in advancing the welfare of the whole human race. If you are like me, a Jamaican born and raised on this land, maybe you will remember saying those words, singing that song in a classroom or some general assembly. If so, like me, you made a pledge. Somehow it seems like many of us have forgotten that. The crime and violence, the indiscipline and short-sightedness, the corruption, the lack of respect for our beautiful lands we are blessed with, and the waters that surround and nurtures us. We have to do better. Let us honor our heroes so that they would not have sacrificed so much in vain. I hope this video can make a difference to even one soul. If so, it would all be worth it. If you feel the way I do, share it. May my voice become yours. Thanks for watching.